explain what we're going to do to start, and then we'll get into it. So, New Game Plus uses a file that's pre curated. Chrono and Marl are both maxed out in all the relevant stats: power, speed, defense, special or magic defense, etc. We'll use this file. We're going to sit in the load screen for a predetermined amount of time. We'll do this to set RNG to specific values and specific attack patterns for the different forms of Lavos. Assuming that we hit the right amount of time, this execution will allow us to know exactly what happens from start to finish, right down to the values of the damage that is both done to us as well as what we do to Lavos. At the beginning of the run, when I actually gain control of Chrono and the game begins, the only real things we do besides get Marl is do a quick menu in the shop. This menu, because we're doing Japanese, you guys won't be able to read it, so I'm just going to go over the items that we equip now so that you aren't listening to me blabber about it while the run is going. Marl is very simple. She's just getting the Prism Helm. This is equipped so that she is immune to any status effects that Lavos is going to use. Chrono gets completely kitted out. He gets the Haste Helm, he gets the Rainbow, he gets Nova Armor, and he gets Prism Specs. This is all, again, to maximize his speed with the Haste Helm, of course, and then the other equipment to maximize his attack power as well as prevent status effect. Other than that, we're going to be doing what's called the candy skip. This skip allows us to get past the little sequence where Marl picks out candy from the candy shop right before you meet Luca. Hopefully I can get it. It's a little tricky. It's a very tight movement where we move diagonally around the trigger. So with that, that's pretty much everything I need to talk about beforehand. So why don't we just jump right in? I'm going to be silent for a little bit while we do this load. So give me a couple of seconds to get this counted out. So we set it to wait. That's what we want to do. This will allow us to do all of our attack animations or all of our attacks while the enemy is doing his animations. And this locks the RNG and keeps it moving. Otherwise, ATBs will slip and that will change the RNG. So normally we would not start the timer until right when we gain control of Chrono. Unlike any other Chrono Trigger speedrun, which allows for, well, which would make you start it earlier. But right when Chrono pumps his fist is when we're going to start the timer. So I'll give you a heads up here in a couple of seconds. And then we would start the timer right now. We want to just mash through all the names. The run is fast enough that we don't need to delete any characters like we would in a longer run. So we're just going to run straight to Marl here. We want to try and position ourselves so that once she walks past us, we're going to talk to her, and this will keep her in place and make it so that we can exit down the stairs a little bit quicker. So I hold that text box until the bell stops ringing, and thus she's right here in front of the steps. So again, we want to mash here. Ideally, we wouldn't even see the naming screen, but that's a frame perfect pause, which is a little difficult on a Super Nintendo controller. So again, here's our equip menu, rainbow, and all the rest. And then here comes the candy skip. So we're going to try and do this. Nice. And then right into the right hell pod. So we're going to go into the menu here when the screen goes black after this teleport. Battle speed 2. Battle cursor on memory. Those are the settings there. These fights are pretty simple. We're going to pretty much be spamming Luminaire with Chrono the entire time. Okay, so the damage value that I read to know that we're on RNG is the value that is done tomorrow there. 494 is off RNG, but not by a lot, so we'll be able to still smash through this pretty good. So we're going to do Ice Sword 2, and this will finish off the shell, which has 10,000 HP. And that's an easy shell. Shell is very simple. Really only difficult part is just paying attention to the value. So here we're going to hold start and B, and then again press X right when it goes to full black, and this will allow us to skip a slower fade in, saving like, less than a full second. This fight's a little more complicated than the shell fight. If we were on RNG, we'd be able to get off 2 Luminaires before Lavos's arms are able to do its sickle attack. But because we're off, it's almost certain that that's going to happen. So what we'll do is we will heal with Marl so that she doesn't die if she gets hit by both sickles. She can survive one, but not both. And if she doesn't survive, then it throws Chrono's MP values off for everything in the battle, so it's a little safer if you know you're off RNG to just heal her. Oh, okay, so she slipped out. That's fine. So we'll just have to heal her with life. So this is going to slow us down by 1 attack pattern for Lavos. Not the biggest of deals. It's just I'm going to have to pay attention to the MP because it's going to be different. So we want to wait until he does this chaos attack so that his defense is actually dropped. Important not to waste the time and MP doing that. Now, normally we would get down to this 59 MP, and then we would just do Ice 2, and that would be enough to kill Lavos Inner. But since we can't deal enough damage, I'm just going to do that rainbow attack. It does, the rainbow crit does more damage than Ice 2. And since rainbow has like a 70% crit rate chance, it's basically guaranteed. But that'll take care of that. You could do it in the other order and have the attack be last. It doesn't really matter. But that poison attack was the extra attack I was talking about before. But again, not a huge deal, just a little bit slower. Not the ideal pattern. But that's why you try and keep that manip tight so that you can guarantee have those sickle attacks from the arms not happen. Because ideally you would get that second Luminaire in right, like your ATB would hit right before the arms ATBs would hit, and that would give you just enough time to get rid of it. So we're going to go for another menu skip here to avoid another longer delayed intro. So we're going to do Confuse here on the left bit, and then attack the right bit with Marl. Not for any damage purposes, but attacking the right bit will hasten its defensive drop so that by the time Chrono gets his turn... Oh, there we go. By the time Chrono gets his turn, we'll be able to do the Luminaire and actually damage that right bit rather than only doing, like, a handful of damage. So again, we're off RNG here. Ideally, we would be taking out Lavos, the center bit, before it gets off that chaos attack, or not chaos, it's random status effect attack. But that's okay. So now we're just going to mash through 3 more luminaires, and that'll be enough to kill this final bit off. Flashing lights warning for the ending, for anybody who has epileptic issues. And that's time. There you go. Very, very short and sweet run. This is something that allows pretty much anybody who wants to learn how to speedrun the ability. It's a very it's not so difficult that you really need to spend hours and hours practicing it to be able to start doing runs. This is why I really recommend this for an introductory run, not only to Chrono Trigger, but just in general. If you as a person looking on the outside and thinking I would like to speed run games, but maybe I don't have the time to be able to dedicate to learn like an hour long run, 2 hour long run, whatever, this is perfect for you, as you'll only need to spend 30 minutes to really like get the run down. An hour of your day will allow you to do 6 or 7 attempts, and all the techniques that you need to learn to do the run are relatively simple, aren't very taxing on your hands. So if you have any sort of arthritic issues or tendonitis, tennis elbow, anything like that, you can do all this and not really be straining yourself. Not to mention this is just a great game, so learning it is amazing, and we have a really fun and welcoming community for all the Chrono Trigger speedruns, and not just Super Nintendo. We have a lot of people that run on PC, that run on no one really runs PlayStation, but we do have some people starting to learn and route the DS version as well. So we're really branching out and trying to incorporate as many newer people who don't have access to the original game or want to do emulation, which is it used to be a lot trickier than it is now. Um, but for for the current time, you if you have access to any of the more modern versions of the game, you can definitely pick up the speed run and learn it. You won't be able to learn this specific one um with like having candy skip and the menu skips and stuff, but that's only going to, change a few things, and the loading times will be faster anyways. But yes, shout out to like the whole CT speedrun community. They have their own Discord. Everybody's welcome to check it out. You can find it through the speedrun .com leaderboards. It's all listed there. Um, and then happy 30th anniversary to the release of Chrono Trigger, which was on the 11th. Uh, I really recommend trying this game out if you've never played it before. It's one of the best. A lot of people consider it the best, myself included. And it's just it's a beautiful game, and I want more people who haven't had the opportunity to try it out to do it, because I don't think you'll regret it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got about the run. uh this is obviously an amazing cause. These guys do a great job every year. I love doing this run every year, every time that there's an opportunity, because it's always great causes. So please, please donate if you can. Don't stretch yourself too thin, but every little bit definitely helps. And just thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for supporting in whatever way you can.